Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Willie Isa is set to stay at Chelsea. Willian Estevao has finally been announced, and Nicolas Jackson to Newcastle is really heating up. Now, of course, I've been giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k before the end of 2025. Kicking things off, Sky Sports have reported that Chelsea forward Armando Broja has completed his Burnley medical, and the fee agreed at £20 million. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. We spoke about Broja's departure from Chelsea. It's best for both parties, really, and Chelsea have done very well to get an amount of £20 million, but there was a bit of air of mystery about the final confirmed amount. They said it probably wasn't going to be disclosed to people. It was an undisclosed amount. Chelsea were asking for around £25 million for Broja originally, and the reports when he was going to Burnley was that the fee had been met, so we were under the illusion it was around £25 million. Some reports said it's probably closer to 20, but now we have confirmation that fee is £20 million. So like I said in my previous video, I wish Armando Broja all the best. I really do. It's a shame that he didn't really work out at Chelsea. He had a few injuries that were reoccurring. He had some decent loan spells, but it never really worked for him at Chelsea, unfortunately. So I wish him all the best. And this is just a little bit just to say the fee has been confirmed. £20 million for Armando Broja, which is a lot of money, really, when you consider the position in the pecking order he is, as how much he's been loaned around as a Chelsea player since his Chelsea career started. I know he's a Cobham graduate, so this obviously goes as pure profit on the books, which is just good for the sales of Chelsea. But like I said, I wish him all the best. He was a really good professional. He always tried hard, didn't really complain about things too much. And I feel like Burnley is a very good move for him. I feel like he's going to get a lot of football this season, and I feel like he can really kick on, settle down at a club, a brand new club, call it his home, hopefully, hit the ground running, try and score some goals and showcase how good he really is, and hopefully he stays fit, because I think that was his main issue at Chelsea, is he just couldn't stay fit, and he didn't really capitalise on the opportunities that he got. When he did get his chances, he didn't really take them as much, and then he was either injured for long periods, or there was very limited opportunities for him to come on and shine. So I'm just hoping that it all goes well for him. Like I said, he's been a top professional, so happy for him. Hope he does well at Burnley, and yeah, let's move on. Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea will offer a new deal to Marc Cucurella as talks will advance soon. The player is happy at Chelsea, and the club is very happy with Marc. I am actually very happy that this is happening, because Cucurella has been one of the most consistent players for the last 18 months. I spoke about this in depth when this was previously spoke about. This is probably a few weeks ago now, that there were talks of a new contract happening. And you guys educated me. I appreciate it, because I got a bit ahead of myself. Like that doesn't happen in most days' videos. But essentially, I was like, if he's on the incentivized wage structure, he definitely is due a pay increase. He's fantastic. He's a phenomenal player. But he was actually signed before that. So he's on a fairly decent wage as it is. But having said that, I still think a pay increase is very well deserved for him. He's been incredible, winning the Euros at the back end of the Poch's era before he was dismissed. The Euros he went on and won. This entire season with Maresca, he is so integral to how we play in an Enzo Maresca system. He's one of the untouchables. He's a nailed-on starter. He played so many games last season because we had no backup that can, natural backup that can play. We now have Joel Hato, which is an incredible signing for us. Plays centre-back, but mainly as a left-back in rotation with Marc Cucurella. So it'll be very interesting to see how the competition goes across the season. But in terms of Cucurella, he's going to get some well-deserved rest and rotation throughout this season, so we're not going to burn him out, hopefully. And I think a pay rise is very well deserved. It'll be very interesting to see what he goes on to. I know he's well in the 6 figures a week as it is, but obviously he's not going to go to 7 figures, obviously. But he's well in that 100. I can't remember specifically. I think it's around 160-ish grand a week, somewhere around that. I could be wrong. Let me know down below. I think it's around that, 140 to 160. But it'll be very interesting to see what he then goes up to on this new contract, because for me, give the man what he wants. He's been an unbelievable player for us, Mr. Consistent. And when we don't have him in the system, we have to adapt. We have to change things. And we have got through games without him, of course, but we massively miss him. He's one of those untouchables. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Does he deserve a pay rise? Do you feel like he's on enough money as it is? I'm glad that he's happy at the club and he wants to stay at Chelsea. I love the fact that he's sort of repelled all of the nonsense and noise that comes in. He responds to it very well, and he lets his talking, he does his talking on the pitch. And behind the scenes with the players and what we see from Cucurella, he's just a clown. He's just a jokester. And it's just really nice to see that he is just enjoying life, living his best life, and playing his best football in a Chelsea shirt. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Kieran Gill has reported that Willie Isa's stay is set to continue at Chelsea. Having returned for pre-season with the players, Chelsea's mentality monster has already had an impact. His next task will be to helping make sure that the world champions do not think their work is done yet. The report continues to say that Chelsea's players will tell you that they appreciate Willie Isa's ever-presence as he marries his schedule to theirs. He is there for every session, every journey, every game. On the pitch for the warm-up, by the tunnel at full time to shake each player's hand as they exit, he is there to listen and to talk. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'll hold my hands up. There was a lot of fans, creators, everyone within the sphere were very baffled, very confused when we hired Willie Isa. Now, thanks for Tim. I appreciate you. He educated me a little bit on the rugby. I said, from the rugby world, apparently there's a difference between rugby league, rugby union. I'm very not educated in the rugby space. I will quite happily admit that. So I appreciate the guidance on that. We knew where he come from. I can respect and appreciate the sport that he has come from. It's a very physical sport. It's very mentally demanding. He's achieved a lot in that sport. But it was very confusing to bring in someone from a completely different field into the footballing world to then develop this mentality. And at the start, I think it's fair to say that we were all kind of like, what's going on here? This makes no sense. And some people were just kind of having a bit of banter with it and saying, they have no idea what they're doing. Fast forward to now, one of the best recruitment decisions I think the board and the owners have made, because he's made such a difference with this squad and he's instilled this mentality, this elite winning mentality, doing what it takes, the camaraderie that we have within this squad. You've seen it develop over the season, and now every single player is in unison, singing from the same hymn sheet after every game, in every interview. They're absolute monsters of mentality right now. They want to win everything. They want to run through walls for Enzo Maresca. They are bought into the system, the philosophy. They are there together. They want to win as a unit. They stick up for each other. They don't tear each other down by the looks of it, in terms of like what we see in the interviews and things like that. They fight for each other. It's something that's been missing, or something that was needed to be instilled with this extremely young squad. I think that's fair to say, right? And like I said, over the season, we've seen it develop, seen it get better, seen it get more potent, and it's now oozing from these players after winning these 2 trophies. And Colwell and Reece James and any of the players that come out and speak in interviews, they're like, yeah, we're hungry for more. Malagusto's like, our work's not done. We want more. We want the Premier League. We want the Champions League. We want to go for everything. It's our world. We want to dominate. And I absolutely love seeing it. And it's all stemmed from Willie Isa and what he's developed and what he's instilled into this squad. So, hey, fair play. Fair play. He's unbelievable. I hope he stays for as long as possible. And if he is enjoying his time here and he's enjoying what he's doing, then that's even better, because the players seem to really gravitate towards him. I wouldn't say they probably look up to him. Maybe they do. I'm not putting the words in their mouth, but maybe they look up to him in the sense of, he has that direction and he's instilled all this mentality into them. And it's just so good to see. We have a very, very talented, very young squad who have now got a solid foundation that we can build upon, and now we have the mentality to match it. I keep saying this to you guys. It is a very, very exciting time to be a Chelsea fan, because this season, we are going to be cooking on gas. We really, really are. And I'm so excited. So I'm glad that he's staying. I'd love to know your thoughts below around it. Was you one of these people that thought, what are we doing in bringing in someone from the rugby world? This makes no sense. Or where you kind of like, actually, yeah, maybe you know a bit more about rugby and you're like, oh, I know about Willie Isa's career, I know what he's achieved. It makes a lot of sense in terms of mentality, and he knows what it takes. This young squad could deal with it. Very curious to know your thoughts. RNBVB have reported that Dortmund are negotiating for a Carney loan plus obligation to buy around 21.7 million to 26.1 million. The obligation would be live if Carney played a certain number of games. Now, we have spoke about Dortmund and Carney for a long, long time, and I don't want to dwell on this way too long. This is just a new announcement that's kind of been out, so I'm reacting to it, as we do on this channel, and just giving my thoughts and opinions. It was reported, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, that Chelsea are willing to reduce their fee quite drastically to just basically get rid of Carney and be like, right, okay, cool. Dortmund want him. They're obsessed with him. Carney's obsessed with the Dortmund mill. They just don't want to pay the money. Then they started saying, like, oh, the injury history, we don't really want to pay that release clause. Chelsea really dropped it. 21 to 26 million pounds on a loan with an obligation, a loan with an obligation to buy around that much. I think it's the best of both worlds, because no one else is really coming for Carney other than RB Leipzig. But Carney only wants the Dortmund move. So bit of a rock and a hard place in that sense. Either he stays at Chelsea and just rots because we're not going to use him, and he's a player that definitely deserves to be playing regular football. He's a fantastic player who's going to go on to do wonderful things, or Chelsea reduce their asking price. I still think, getting anywhere between 22 to 27 or 26.5 million for him, makes a lot of sense. It's still good money for Carney, and it adds an extra year, so I don't know what the amortization of it will be, but obviously if Chelsea are happy to do that, it means that we're more than likely either going to break even or make money on it. So I feel like it's a good deal for all parties. Ideally, I'd like Dortmund just to come in and pay the money, because they've had a try before you buy. They're getting another try before you buy. And if it goes on again and they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to pay it, like hopefully the obligation to buy it, there is none of this fee that Manchester United did with us, where if you don't do that, you just have to pay us 5 million. Unless Chelsea do that and say, if you don't do the obligation to buy, you owe us 40 million. So then they're incentivized to say, look, okay, we're going to use them as we intend to. We've hit the number of games, we'll pay the money. Because if they don't, they then have a wham fine. And if he doesn't meet the amount of games, they have a wham fine. So I feel like if we do it that way, it makes a lot of sense. So either way, Chelsea do get their money for their player. Because I feel like Dortmund they're trying their luck, they're being cheeky. They're trying to push all the little crevices to see if, what about this angle, what about this angle? And fair play to them. This is what clubs should be doing. And I'm glad that Chelsea's standing on business. I've got no issue with them compromising on the initial fee or whatnot, as long as we aren't leaving ourselves open to a vulnerable sort of loophole in the back end of the deal. So like I said, just reacting to what's the updated news around Carney to Dortmund, but it looks like that will be going ahead very soon. Obviously we've not had no here we go, but I can't see Chelsea and Dortmund not being able to agree if it's something along these lines. I feel like Dortmund are going to be very inclined to take it. Yesterday, Chelsea unveiled Willian Estevao. And his first interview as a Chelsea player was reported by Chelsea. He said, "I'm very happy. It feels very rewarding to represent Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I'm very happy and I hope to help the team in the best way possible. I'm a child of God, a calm boy. In my free time, I love playing video games and I like to spend time with my family as well. I think my biggest motivation is to give pride to my family, not titles, not achievements, but for my family, because I know how much people have worked when we struggled to get where we wanted to go, where our dream was. So it was more for them that I preserved during my childhood and I preserved to this day. Eden Hazard is one that I watched most at Chelsea. He's ace." He then spoke about why he joined Chelsea, and he said, "The plans and structure of the club, mainly the plans and the project, is what interested me and my family, and I think it was the best decision we could have made." On his long-term goals, he says he wants to win the Premier League, the Champions League, and be the best player in the world. Estevao goes on to say even more. He said, "I had almost a year and a half to wait until I arrived here, but it has been a year and a half that I've worked hard and have done my best to get here in the best shape possible. I am very, very excited. It is a new experience in my life, a new stage. I'm looking forward to it and hope that it will go as well as possible." Now, I've been saying this for a long time. You guys have been saying this for a long time. We are so excited. So excited to see Willian Estevao. I think we've had to wait nearly a year and a half to see this guy wear Chelsea blue. And let's be honest, how good does he look in the Chelsea kit? Unbelievable. And all the things that he said, he seems to be, again, another player that is a mentality monster at a very young age, extremely talented and gifted. We've seen it firsthand against us, but we've also seen what he did for Palmeiras across last season as well. This guy is a monster on the football pitch. And yes, I do believe he will need to be bedded into the Chelsea team, but I don't think it's going to take long at all. I originally predicted that he'd probably be a Chelsea starter around October time, and I'm sticking to that. If it's any earlier, then wow, I am over the moon. Prove me wrong, I am over the moon. If it's a little bit later than that, fair enough. There should be no pressure on this kid. He's 18 years old. He's got the world at his feet. He has ambition. He has drive. He seems to be very humble in terms of everything's for his family. He likes playing video games. He's just a normal 18-year-old in that sense. He's just exceptionally gifted with football, and we're so blessed to have him play for Chelsea. So blessed to have him play for Chelsea. And I'm glad that he touched on all these things. He watched Eden Hazard the most. Well, that's very interesting because you play very much like that in terms of picking the ball up, getting fans on the edge of their seat, taking it around 2 or 3 people, and then putting the ball in the net. And I tell you what, if you can do that, you could, be on that pedestal with Eden Hazard of one of Chelsea's best. I know he's very young. He's not even kicked the ball for us yet, but that is the projection. That's his ambition to get there. He wants to win the Premier League, the Champions League. He wants to be the best player in the world. These are all the right things, and he could just be saying this. I don't feel like he is. I feel like he means this. He put something on Instagram a few days ago about how he's excited and anxious of putting on that Chelsea shirt. He feels like time has slowed right down, but he wants to enjoy it. He loved his time at Palmeiras. He's now a Chelsea player. He's been looking forward to this for the longest time. And I feel like we know how ruthless he is and how cutthroat his mentality is for when he played against us. Because even when they interviewed him before that game, are you going to celebrate? Are you going to do this? And he's like, I don't care that these are my future employers. I'm going to score. I'm going to do my thing. And, you know, it is what it is. I'm a Palmeiras player until the end of this tournament. It's exactly what he did. So I am so excited to see Estevao play. I personally feel like he may start in that first pre-season. I'm just putting it out. I think like at Stamford Bridge, walking him out and unveiled properly with the fans. I thought that might be in the official unveiling from Chelsea FC rather than the videos and the stuff they posted last night. But hey, I'm happy either way. Seeing Estevao in that Chelsea kit. Now, I don't think it's been seen of what number he's wearing. Same with Joel Hato, so that'll be very interesting. But honestly, super, super excited. Everything he says is just ticking the right boxes to get fans excited. And honestly, I feel like he's going to hit the ground running. And I feel like he is going to go on to be one of the best players in the world. When we first signed him, at that sort of gold rush between Madrid and Chelsea signing these South American wonder kids, you had Paez, you had Endrick, obviously Estevao, I think obviously Rodrigo was a bit before, but that was sort of that era of buying talent from around that part of the world. And everyone was saying that Chelsea have got the absolute bargain here. They've managed to pick up Paez and Estevao. Now, obviously, Endrick and Rodrigo going on to do incredible things. Endrick, not so much. He's still doing well, but he's looking to really go on and sort of develop his game. Rodrigo as well obviously wants to. Well, there was talks of him leaving Madrid to go develop and get more game time, be that superstar he feels he can be. And we all know that he can be. He's a class player. And we still, like, the last of that wave is Estevao and Paez. And obviously Paez has gone on a development loan to Strasbourg this season. Estevao was in the first team. This is like the new wave. And it's not really that many years apart, really, when you think about it, from that first wave of Brazilians brought over or South Americans brought over and this one. So it's just an exciting time to be a Chelsea fan, man. It's so exciting. How well do you think that Estevao is going to do in his first season at Chelsea? Do you feel like he's going to be a player that surprises a lot of us, even though we know he has very high potential and how good he is? Will he still surprise Chelsea fans? Or will he take a little bit of time to adjust to the league, adjust to the competitions, the intensity and things like that? How do you feel like Maresca is going to manage his minutes? And I'm very curious to know your thoughts about that, because I feel like Maresca is very good at his man management. He's very good at managing minutes, keeping players fit that are, more injury prone than others. And just, he loves rotation, right? He just loves rotation. And we definitely have the squad depth for it. Now, Estevao was promised playing central positions, but we know how good he is on that right-hand side. I personally feel like he will start on the right-hand side, but we'll get opportunities in that central position as time goes on. Because I feel like, again, Palmer has played on the right-hand side. He's played centrally under Maresca. So there is a lot of variety within our attacking front line. And I feel like Maresca is probably rubbing his hands together like a kid in a sweet shop, because he's got all these players that are so technically gifted that are either going to go on and develop or already at a stage where we can really demand things from them now. So much versatility in that attacking lineup. So it's going to be super exciting to be a Chelsea fan watching us play this season. I'm so gassed. We've got our first friendly. I know it's 2 pre-season friendlies, but I'm just excited to see Chelsea play again. So I'd love to know your thoughts regarding Estevao being unveiled at the Chelsea player. Did you like the way it was unveiled? Do you feel like they could have done something bigger and better because it was such a long wait? Or are you just happy to see him in that world champion Chelsea home kit? Ben Jacobs also reported what Estevao said when it comes to speaking to Thiago Silva. He said, after I signed for Chelsea in the final game of 2024, I played against Thiago. He came to talk to me. He said I was going to love the club, and now I can see how amazing this club is. I absolutely love that. I love the fact that Chelsea have so many players across the world at various stages of their career that when they leave Chelsea, they still love the club. They still love the club. They still talk very highly of the club, whether they've achieved success here or they're a fan favourite or whatever their journey is. They always speak very highly of the club. Now, Thiago Silva, to me, I think the word legend gets thrown around a lot, but he's definitely a fan favourite, a cult hero for sure. Whether you class him as a legend is entirely preference. I'm on the verge of classing him as a legend because of his age, what he did when he arrived here, the situation of the club around it, what he achieved with us. But at the same time, we have other players, longer legacies, etc. But regardless of that, he is universally loved at Chelsea. We can all agree on that, at least. The fact that he's in that league and he speaks to Estevao, he's like, you're going to love this club. It's amazing. The way they treat you, what you can go on to achieve, the club itself, the history and the heritage of it, what we go on to win, the players, the camaraderie. And this is Thiago, who had left a team that was very dysfunctional at the time. He was seen as that leader. He left at like 40 years old. You know, we saw his farewell where he was breaking down about it. He absolutely loved this club, and we loved him equally as much. So I just love the fact that, you know, you have players that have kind of left the club, that speak to players that are going to the club and give them that real insight of what it's like. So I'm sure for a player like, generational player like Thiago Silva to speak to a youngster like Estevao coming in and just be like, look, you're going to love this club. It's a good decision. Like, well done. And he's like, I can now see how amazing this club is. Just, I don't know, it hits me in the feels, makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. Fabrizio Romano has reported a little update regarding Xavi Simons, saying that Chelsea remain in advanced talks over Xavi Simons, but no breakthrough yet for 2 reasons. Leipzig are focused on the Sesko deal right now, and then also Chelsea are focused on sales. Leipzig will clarify the Xavi situation after the Sesko deal. This kind of ties into the last part of this video where we talk about Nicolas Jackson, Newcastle, Benjamin Sesko, and Manchester United, because it's a domino effect that is falling into place where I feel like Chelsea can really just profit from it. It's going to be an interesting one. In yesterday's video, we spoke about Nicolas Jackson leaving Chelsea, right? And we have some more confirmation from Fabrizio, which we'll talk about in a second. But it looks like it's going to happen. Jackson is going to be leaving this season because of the way these dominoes are falling. And you guys are very split in the comments, if I'm being honest, and I love it. I love having a conversation with you guys. Some people want to keep Jackson, feel like he can stay and develop and even more in the Premier League. He's got the experience, he's still young. A lot of fans are saying we should cash in on him now because it's the right window to do so with the inflated prices. If Chelsea can cash in, great. Like I've said, I'm happy either way. I have no agenda against Jackson. I have no agenda of keeping Jackson. I'm very much in the middle. I'd like to keep him. He is young. We know what he brings to a team. If he can finish, sort his finishing and his discipline out, unbelievable player. The other side of it, if Chelsea can make mad profit on him, I'm kind of like, okay, I can understand why the board are going to do that. Fair enough. My question is, do we go and replace Jackson or not? Because again, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the video, but another sort of concern I have is 2 forwards going into a season rather than 3. But in regards to Xavi, again, it's not really a massive update. It's just kind of keeping people informed and reacting to something that's been posted that Chelsea is still in advanced talks. But look, Sesko is a big factor leaving RB Leipzig. From their perspective, they're about to lose 2 of their best players. So it makes sense that if they can seal the bag with Sesko leaving, they're going to focus on that. Xavi Simons only wants Chelsea. Said this many times. Leipzig are happy for him to go to Chelsea. It's just working out that final figure. So just wanted to kind of pop this in here before the last bit of the video, just kind of get a bit of a reaction to the latest thing that's kind of been posted regarding Xavi Simons. I still think the deal is going to get done. I feel like this is going to be one that's done probably near the end of the window. The way it's been squeezed out, I originally thought it was going to be done ages ago. I think a lot of us did, but my predictions are always wildly wrong, right? Which is just funny, I suppose. And it goes to show how differently we all think. I feel like this is definitely going through, but it's just taking as long as it takes. And I feel like this could be potentially, and the Garnacho one, which I'm not going to speak about in today's video for a lot of your guys' joy. I feel like those 2 deals will probably be done later on in the window, probably closer to the end of the window. But hey, that's just my thoughts. I'd love to know yours down below. Fabrizio Romano has reported that Nicolas Jackson is leaving Chelsea. It's not new news if you have been following this channel. The Athletic have reported that Newcastle have earmarked Chelsea striker Nicolas Jackson as a contingency plan if they miss out on Benjamin Sesko. Ben Jacobs has reported that Nicolas Jackson is another name on Newcastle's list of attacking options and Chelsea are open to a sale. There have been some initial club-to-club talks already. Brentford's Wissa is another target with a player pushing to join Newcastle. Several options discussed by Newcastle alongside their pursuit of Benjamin Sesko. He then reported this morning that Newcastle are now targeting a move for Nicolas Jackson and things are clearly getting desperate at St James's Park. And Mike McGrath has reported that Newcastle consider Nicolas Jackson move after Benjamin Sesko blow. Chelsea are open to selling. Like I said previously in this video when we spoke about Xavi Simons briefly, this is a domino effect where Chelsea can really capitalise. Benjamin Sesko is one of the last, well, Jackson really, but you've got Benjamin Sesko. The start of the window, you had Gyökeres, Osimhen, Sesko, Delap. They were the number 9s that so many clubs were going in for. And Hugo Ekitike, or Ekiteke. I can never say it. I don't know why. Those were the strikers that clubs were going for. They've all been bought. They've all been bought. Isak hasn't been training. There's a lot of drama going on at the Newcastle camp. He's been back at his old club prior to Newcastle training there. He's then come back and he's not attending functions, things like that. Liverpool are desperate to get it. Well, I say desperate. They really want him. They had a bid of 120 million turned down by Newcastle. Newcastle are preparing for his exit. It's very, very evident. Very, very evident. And when it comes to Sesko, it was Manchester United and Newcastle. They both put massive bids in for him, and Sesko has said he would much rather go to Manchester United over Newcastle, which is wild, by the way, because Newcastle, I kind of feel for them a little bit. Every target they've gone after has rejected them. Every single target has rejected them this summer, which is a big kick in the teeth. They have Champions League football. They have a good setup of a squad. Yes, there is a rebuild that's needed, and I know that there's a lot of PSR issues over there in terms of having money and not being able to spend it, etc. But it's not necessarily a bad club when you consider Manchester United is a gigantic club, right? Historically, huge club, an institution, right? Right now it's on fire. The roof is leaking. The players are awful. A rebuild is needed. The manager can't get the best out of them. He needs a complete declutter and new signings coming in. They've signed Cunha. They've signed Wemo. They are good signings. They are now looking to get Sesko and adding that to their squad. Sesko said he'd much rather go to United. United don't even... They finished, what, 15th, 16th? Yeah, 14, 15, 16th. Anyway, so close to relegation last season. It's unbelievable. But yet Newcastle was still being snubbed for a club like Manchester United. That's incredible. It's incredible. So what that means is if Sesko goes to United, Newcastle still need a replacement for Isak. Isak is the written on the wall. He's going to move to Liverpool, and he'll get that move at some point. Whether he forces it himself, Liverpool up their bid, whether Newcastle just accept the fee, whatever it may be, I feel Isak is not going to be a Newcastle player by the start of the season. Now, with all of those players gone, who does that leave available in this very short, dried-up market for number 9s? Nicolas Jackson. The player that Chelsea are happy to sell for the right price, but are also happy to keep because they feel like he is, key part of the Lorenzo Maresca squad for next season, and happy either way. Happy either way. And like I've said many times, I don't have an agenda against this guy. I actually think he's a very good player who needs to work on his discipline and his finishing, but happy to sell him for massive profit. Cool. It's something that we can't control as fans, but I kind of look at that and go, that makes sense to make a ridiculous amount of money on him. But at the same time, if we kept him and he develops, amazing. We win either way. I've said this many times. But it does look like Nicolas Jackson will be going to Newcastle purely on Benjamin Sesko's decision to prefer Manchester United over Newcastle. Now, of course, nothing's flat out confirmed yet. Nothing's flat out confirmed yet. But what is confirmed is that Newcastle are now really having initial club-to-club talks with Chelsea, really eyeing up that move for Nicolas Jackson. And as Ben Jacobs did mention, it's getting a bit desperate over at St James's Park now, and I do kind of feel for him a little bit. Like I said, every target this summer window has turned them down, which is just not... It just sucks, right? I can't imagine what it's like to be a Newcastle fan right now, but my heart goes out to you because that's got to suck. Transfer window where you are linked with a lot of targets and new players that are going to come in and improve your squad, and none of them want to go. I don't understand it. Is it a geographical thing? Is it just where Newcastle's situated? I don't really know. Is it the structure, the ambitions, the project that they've currently got going on at Newcastle? I genuinely have no idea, but they have Champions League football, which everyone clings onto, of saying, if you've got Champions League football, top players will want to come to you. But Newcastle are living out that dream, and no one's coming to them. So it's very, very interesting. However, hey, if you pay the right money to Chelsea, you can have Nicolas Jackson. 60 million plus. 60 million plus. Anything above that, 65 million, 70 million, 80 million, whatever you want to pay. If you're paying silly money for Benjamin Sesko, I think we worked out, when you convert the euros to pounds in the recent bid, it's like 73 million pounds for Benjamin Sesko. Now, in my opinion, if you was to compare the two players, I think Nicolas Jackson is worth equal, if not more money than Benjamin Sesko. Similar age, similar league goals last season, but Nicolas Jackson has Premier League experience. He's got trophies under his belt. He's got more GA combined in a harder league. He's worth more money, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Love to know yours down below. But if you're going to ask for 73 million for Sesko, Jackson should be around about the same sort of money in this window. In this specific window where everyone's prices is just going up and up and up and up and up. If Sesko scored 13 league goals last season in the Bundesliga with no Premier experience, and Jackson scored a similar amount in the Premier League in his second season in the Premier League, the first season he got 15, no penalties. I'm just saying, if you're going up purely off of that, I'd say he's got to be equal, if not more, than Benjamin Sesko. But it'd be very interesting to see how this plays out. I feel like if the writing's on the wall, Fabrizio's confirmed it. Jackson is leaving this summer. The only right place that he goes right now in terms of direction is Newcastle as an Isak replacement. So I can't imagine what the Newcastle fans are feeling about that. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Jackson to Newcastle. Would you still keep him? Or if the money's right, would you sell him and take the profit? My only other question that I mentioned earlier is if we do offload Jackson, what do we do? Do we go back in the market for a striker? Because we are very evidently seeing that there is a very dry shortage of number 9s in European football. Or have we got a strong enough squad to go into next season with just 2 forwards? 2 forwards. For me, it's a bit of a risk. Yes, we have other players that can play in that role, but no out-and-out number 9 other than Delap. So very interested to know your thoughts regarding that as well. And that's all the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.